Sunrise and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com. Some coastal Crossroads counties are preparing for the effects of Hurricane Francine. The details just ahead. And the Victoria City Council approved a tax rate Tuesday. We'll hear from the city manager about the budget. Plus, America marks the 23rd anniversary of 9/11. We'll hear the story of one survivor.
And Hurricane Francine is going to continue darting straight towards Louisiana going into tonight. What is that going to bring us here in the Crossroads the next few days? More heat. We'll take a look at that. The weather coming up.
Victoria East football is hoping to get their first win on Friday night versus Gregory Portland. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning and happy Wednesday. It is 9/11 Remembrance Day, 23 years since that tragedy. I believe I was 13. And Parker, you were 3.
I was 3, yeah, I was 3, born in 98.
So I'll head on over to that ceremony at the plaza today.
Great idea.
And also on everyone's minds is Hurricane Francine, the coastal effects.
Yeah, so actually I'm going to talk about those coastal effects in just a moment. So are you, Carolina, in just a moment. But right now we're actually not really dealing too much with the effects of Francine because it's still pretty far away from us, sitting at like 200 to 250 miles away. It is still a Category 1 hurricane, but we're going to look at that here in just a second. Because right now, if you're tuning in with us this morning, it's not that bad out there. It's actually very nice out there right now and a little bit humid, sitting at 75 degrees here in Victoria, but your dew point 2 degrees off at 73, bringing humidity to 94%. That is pretty high out there, I will admit, but it's not high enough for fog, and we're also not expecting any fog because Francine is right near us, providing us with a little bit of mixing out there. And that's also why we're not really seeing any rain, because we're on the western dry side of Francine as we go all the way into today and tomorrow. You're getting those northerly dry winds coming out of the North Texas. That's why we're not expecting too much in terms of rain for today. So if you're sending your kiddos out the door this morning, no need for an umbrella. It's actually going to be a very nice day today. I'm thinking to get up to about 91 this afternoon with some partly cloudy skies. But coming up here in just a minute, Carolina's going to explain to you this coastal flood warning that we have for some storm surge up to 1 to 3 feet. Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. Although Francine is not expected to strike the Texas coast, it will still pass close enough for some impacts to be felt locally. Calhoun County is under a coastal flood warning through Thursday afternoon due to large waves generated by Francine impacting the coast, causing flooding of coastal and nearby low-lying areas. Port Lavaca Interim City Manager Jody Weaver says while Francine is not expected to strike the Texas coast, everyone still needs to prepare for some impacts, mainly localized flooding.
See some high tides in some of the low-lying areas in the county, or low-lying areas around the city. We'll see higher than normal levels of floodwater, and so people need to be mindful of that.
If you live in a flood-prone area, consider relocating until the threat is over. Always remember the slogan, turn around, don't drown. Matagorda County issued a voluntary evacuation for the coastal areas of that county. That includes Sargent, Matagorda, and along the Palacios waterfront. Authorities say the predicted high tides, strong winds, and higher than normal waves will cause flooding in low-lying areas. That area is where Hurricane Beryl made landfall in July. The Victoria City Council has approved the city's budget for the next year and the property tax rate. The city's total budget will be more than $194 million to fund police operations, park maintenance, and administrative services. A portion of the budget revenue is from property tax. That rate was set by council at 47.07 cents per $100 of property valuation.
One of my biggest responsibilities as city manager is to put together the proposed budget, right? And I do that through a combination of working with staff, working with city council members. And so obviously once we get to the end of the process and it gets adopted, that's a great, huge sign of relief and success, right? There's a lot of work that gets put into this process. The process literally starts in February and March. And so it really is the culmination of a half-a-year process.
The budget includes a 3% pay increase for all city employees. To see detailed information on the budget, go to our website, crossroadstoday.com. Vice President Harris and former President Trump faced off in their first debate. With the race neck and neck, Harris touted her experience as a former prosecutor and went after Trump on stage, while Trump targeted her record on the economy and immigration. Harris, who entered the race just 7 weeks ago, has had limited time to define her candidacy and win over voters. Meanwhile, Trump's allies hope that he can stay on message and turn around what's been a rocky summer for his campaign. Today, New York, Washington, and cities across America are marking the 23rd anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks. So many personally experienced the events that forever changed the course of history, and they've shared their stories of unthinkable horror. But this morning, we're hearing a survival story unlike any other.
Let's look at the North Tower quickly.
To be coming down.
Understandably, most of us will never forget the sight of the Twin Towers falling on September 11th.
And wouldn't you know it, we decided to hold the seminars on September 11th.
But for Michael Hinkson, who is blind, he says he will always remember the way the building shook while he was holding a meeting on the North Tower 78th floor.
We kind of heard a muffled thump, and the building sort of shuddered.
Now, in that moment, Michael and his colleagues did not know a plane had hit their tower, but he immediately called his wife, Karen, and then retrieved his loyal guide dog, Roselle, who was napping under his desk.
She was guiding, and I kept encouraging her. Good dog, Roselle. What a good girl.
As hundreds started to descend the stairs, one of Michael's main goals was to keep Roselle calm amidst all of the chaos. And sometimes they even teamed up to help others. For example, on the 68th floor, Michael says a woman exclaimed that she could not go on any further.
We just all had a group hug there on the stairs, and Roselle gave her kisses, and she was able to keep going.
And then on the 37th floor, Michael says he and Roselle were even offering comic relief.
It got quiet again, and I was going, oh my gosh, somebody's going to blow it here. So I just said, hey, everybody, my name's Mike. I'm blind. I got a guide dog. Don't anyone worry. If the power and lights go out, Roselle and I are offering a half-price special to get you out today only. You know, and people started laughing at that.
Eventually, Michael, Roselle, and his team made it to the lobby and were safely escorted outside.
We heard this rumble that quickly became this deafening roar.
But in the decades since, Michael has dedicated his life to telling people around the world about that morning. He's become an acclaimed keynote speaker, and in 2011, he wrote the New York Times bestseller Thunderdog about how he and Roselle survived. To this day, he has still not stopped trying to help people learn about what happened, and in the midst of it all, still find that sense of calm.
And for me, that became the best therapy possible.
Roselle sadly passed away in 2011, but Michael continues to spread her story. In fact, he actually just released a new book a few weeks ago called Live Like a Guide Dog. I know I certainly want to be more like Roselle. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Two planes collided on a taxiway at the Atlanta airport Tuesday morning, causing significant damage to one of the aircrafts. The wingtip of a Delta plane struck the tail of an Endeavor Airlines jet at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. The Endeavor plane's tail was nearly ripped off completely in the collision. Passengers on the Bombardier CRJ-900 plane who were headed to Lafayette, Louisiana, had to be bused back to the terminal, while Delta's Airbus A350, which was bound for Tokyo, was able to make it back to a gate under its own power. After a 6-week summer recess, lawmakers returned to the Capitol Monday facing a familiar problem: figuring out how to avert a shutdown. With Congress expected to leave again at the end of the month and return after Election Day, the stopgap bill is likely needed to keep the government open past the election. One proposal by House Speaker Mike Johnson to tie a short-term government funding bill to a Donald Trump-backed proposal to overhaul voting laws was met with pushback by several GOP lawmakers Monday who vowed to vote no on the package. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. The time is now 6:38 on our Wednesday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up on 25 News Now Sunrise. There was a winner in last night's Mega Millions jackpot drawing. Learn what state they're from and just how much they won.
The nation watched as Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump met for the first time on a debate stage in Philadelphia. I'm Christiane Cordero with some of the takeaways from the National Constitution Center.
And also coming up next after the break, coming up in the full forecast, we'll take a look at the timing for any possible rain today. We'll also look at your weather and health forecast. And coming up later on Sunrise, we'll also take another look at your marine forecast and everything else that's going on out there in the tropics. Well, good morning, Crossroads. If you're tuning in with us this morning, you're looking live in Cuero. Look at that car that's like really moving down that road right now. It doesn't look like he's moving that fast. It's actually a really slow frame right now. But look at your live camera view in Cuero. Very nice out there this morning, sitting at 74 degrees and your dew point 2 degrees off at 72, bringing humidity to 95%. So definitely plenty humid out there. We're not really expecting any fog out there this morning because we got Francine right nearby, bringing us lots of mixing in the atmosphere. So if anything, you might maybe see a little bit of dew in your windshield. But otherwise, looking at the other form of precipitation today, that's rain and also clouds. Look at your feature clouds and radar for today. I do have rain chances today at 10%, and it's actually bumped down from yesterday's 20% that I was saying for today, because I'm thinking if anything, there might be between 1 to maybe 3 or 4 showers, isolated showers if anything, out there today, with partly cloudy skies ensuing in the background before that clears up to mostly clear skies and then sunny skies for tomorrow. But with the partly cloudy skies ensuing for today and maybe a few showers in the area, I think it's going to be a pretty nice day. I'm thinking about 91 here in Victoria, while northwestern counties, y'all might be able to see a degree or 2 higher than that. But otherwise, y'all probably thought it's going to be a little bit breezy out there today with Francine right off of our coast, about 250 miles away. Actually, it's not. It's only going to be gusting between 15 to 20 miles an hour at times, with maybe northern counties between 10 to 15. But there is some bad news with that wind breezing a little bit at times. That's going to bring your pollen up a little bit. High grass pollen is expected for today. Ragweed, that's going to be moderate. So I might actually recommend taking an allergy pill. I've actually had a few sniffles this morning, but UV index, that's also going to be very high with some peaks of sunshine. But coming our way for the rest of this week, we're going to only heat up to the mid and upper 90s. But coming up next, we're going to take a look at what else is going on out there in the tropics. But now here's sports.
So Victoria East has their first home game on Friday night versus Gregory Portland at 7 p.m. at Memorial Stadium. The Titans are currently 0-2 to start the season. They're hoping to turn it around under first-year head coach John Ford and quarterback Carlin Helms, and hoping they can turn the tables starting this week.
I mean, they've really jumped in this week and moved past it. You know, I mean, hopefully we've learned our lesson through film and, you know, and the experience, and we've, like I said, we've moved past it, and we're just ready to go play our game.
It's going to have to be us staying positive, staying focused for our next game, looking forward, forgetting the past, but remembering our mistakes and fixing them and kind of turning those into kind of strengths for our team. I think that's what we'd have to do to get a win.
Both Ford and Helms are hoping to get the big first win this Friday night versus Gregory Portland. It should be a fun one to watch. This is Max Williams, 25 News Now Sports.
The nation watched as Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump met for the first time ever on a debate stage in Philadelphia. ABC News hosted and moderated the candidates' pitch to voters, which included some of the election's most critical moments and a few bizarre ones.
It started with a handshake.
Kamala Harris, let's have a good debate.
Have fun.
A brief moment of diplomacy between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump before the gloves came off.
Tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling.
She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist.
The economic pitch to voters led the debate, Harris leaning into her middle-class roots.
My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy.
Trump doubling down on his tariff plan, which economists say would be a tax on Americans, and pinning inflation on Harris.
When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before.
On abortion, Trump wouldn't commit to vetoing a national abortion ban, instead repeating this false claim.
But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine.
Harris then going on the attack.
Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral.
Trump repeatedly brought the wide-ranging conversation back to immigration.
She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border.
Harris dismissed most of those attacks, instead focusing on provoking the unhinged side of the former president.
It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos.
In the post-debate spin room, Trump made a rare appearance as his surrogates scrambled to defend his performance. Harris taking a victory lap after the debate, but saying she's still the underdog. The Harris campaign was quick to offer another debate in October. Trump has not yet committed to that. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Philadelphia.
25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting interviewed two local political leaders after last night's presidential debate. Check it out, come to crossroadstoday.com, or you can visit our YouTube channel to see the interview. And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code on your screen to take part. We want to know, who do you think won the debate? And now my producer Ronnie Reyna has said that this is the most participation we've seen in the viewer poll in the whole year. So thank you for taking part. And y'all are saying that 37% of y'all are saying that Harris won the debate, and 63% of you say that Trump won the debate. So that had been right down the middle all morning, and now it has gone to Trump's favor. Go to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. Someone has won the Mega Millions jackpot, an estimated $800 million. One ticket sold in Texas matched all the numbers in Tuesday night's drawing. The lucky winner could walk away with a cash option of $404 million. This is only the third Mega Millions winner this whole year. The other jackpot winners were in March, when a player from New Jersey won over $1 billion, and in June, when a player in Illinois won $550 million. The time is now 6:46 on our Wednesday morning. Still to come, the community of Seadrift taking the next steps to find its next chief of police.
Well, good morning, Crossroads. If you're tuning in with us this morning, I'm sure all of you are wondering what is going on with Hurricane Francine, as it is literally just 200 to 250 miles away from our coast this morning. Right now, Hurricane Francine is still a Category 1 hurricane, with your winds sustained at about 90 miles an hour, only 5 to 6 miles an hour shy of Category 2 strength, but it is continuing to slowly barrel. Actually, I wouldn't say slowly. It's actually barreling straight towards Louisiana here, going into tonight, actually, where it will make landfall. But you'll notice we're still on the western side of that. Not really expecting too much in terms of rain, but looking at that satellite, and you actually can see here, looking at your cone, where it's going to go here over the next several hours. You can see still making landfall somewhere south of Lafayette, maybe even southwest of New Orleans, as we go into tonight as a Category 2 storm. The National Hurricane Center has bumped up that intensity guidance back to our Category 2 hurricane as we go into tonight. Yesterday they had it as a Category 1, if you remember that. But here in the Crossroads, we are still a little bit close to Francine. That's why we're still dealing with a little bit of coastal flooding effects with wave storm surges between 1 to 3 feet. So maybe see a little bit, maybe just like minor flooding like right around the beach. But other than that, not really too much going on out there for today. But looking at the rest of the tropics, we actually now have the National Hurricane Center just added this new spot. I have to go double check what the chances are of development on that. But the other two waves, this eastern one has an 80% chance of development. This is very likely to become a hurricane soon. Good news is that's going to go north into the central end, but I am going to watch this wave over the next few weeks for development, as that has more of a westerly course, but over the next couple of weeks. But if you're going down to the beach today, not the greatest day. It is going to be a little bit breezy, but not too bad. Otherwise, slightly choppy bays. But we're going to look at that and more coming up later on Sunrise. Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. The community of Seadrift is taking the next steps to find its next chief of police. The City Council created a job description and requirements. One of those requirements is that a person must live within 30 minutes of the town. The chief position will be overseen by the council as a whole, not just by the alderman that will work directly with the chief and police department. Alderman Paul Gonzalez says a new chief will likely be chosen in November. The search for a new chief comes after the firing of Marie Carrizales several months ago. Cheyenne Beaver has been serving as interim chief. Victoria College got a grant of over $900,000 from the Texas Workforce Commission. The grant of $933,000 is in support of adult education and literacy. It's funded by the U.S. Department of Education. They will continue educational opportunities for adult learners to improve English proficiency, earn high school equivalency, gain industry-recognized credentials, and achieve digital literacy. Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. Tens of thousands of people are under wildfire evacuation orders and warnings in the U.S. today. Tens of thousands of people are under wildfire evacuation orders and warnings in the western U.S. today. Officials say the U.S. now has more than 70 large active fires, and some are growing rapidly. In Orange County, California, the airport fire is expanding rapidly after igniting Monday. In a nearby San Bernardino County, 4,800 homes were evacuated. The bridge fire in Angeles National Forest is fewer than 30 miles from LA. Other states are also facing wildfires. They include Arizona, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming. The FDA plans to investigate the potential harm to women from heavy metals such as lead and arsenic found in tampons. They announced the action Tuesday following the July publication of a small pilot study that found arsenic and lead in organic and non-organic tampons. Although the levels of both metals were low, the EPA says there's no safe level of exposure to lead. The FDA lab study will mimic normal use of tampons to see just how much, if any, metals may be released into the body during their use. A weight loss drug is showing promise to treat childhood obesity. In a late-stage trial, children who used the weight loss drug liraglutide lost significantly more weight than children on a placebo. The study, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, looked at the effects of the drug on children between ages 6 and 12 with a high body mass index. Out of 82 children, 56 received the drug injection once a day. At the end of the trial, those on the drug had a BMI more than 7 percentage points lower than their counterparts. Wharton County deputies stopped a vehicle last Friday on U.S. Highway 59 near Pierce. A search of the vehicle found 3 rifles and 4 magazines hidden. Authorities say the guns were being transported from the Houston area to Mexico. 21-year-old Jose Mena of Mercedes and 23-year-old Arely Martinez of FAR were arrested and charged with firearm smuggling. That's a second-degree felony. Victoria College has canceled classes and is closing operations for today. It comes after an internet outage on campus. The college says they will send an update when access is restored. Victoria area first responders are honoring those lost on 9/11 at De Leon Plaza this morning. The 9/11 memorial ceremony starts at 8:45 a.m. downtown. And we want to invite you to experience our new digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And now we get a look at our cloudy sunrise with Parker. Parker, how is it looking out there, and what can we expect today as Francine nears landfall?
Well, Francine is going to be moving pretty close to us still. It is still moving towards Louisiana as we go into tonight and probably making landfall as a Category 2 hurricane. So if you have any family or friends or folks over there in Louisiana, make sure to give them a quick call and tell them they've got a hurricane coming their way. Make sure to get out of there before it's too late. But otherwise, here in the Crossroads, we're not really expecting too much impacts from Hurricane Francine, except for some coastal flood warnings. And of course, it's another morning that the National Weather Service's station down there is not working right now. It is, I can definitely safely tell you, although it is in the upper 70s right now, and definitely very humid out there. Very lovely morning, I should say. But otherwise, today it's going to be another warm day. Today, we're officially back in the 90s all across the state. Here in Victoria, I'm thinking about 89 today, and going into tomorrow, I'm thinking about the same thing. It's going to keep on heating up as we go all the way into the weekend.
All right, thank you so much, Parker. Wow, what a forecast. It looks like clear skies for us, except for maybe those showers later in the week.
Yeah, of course.
And we want to thank you all for joining us today. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Don't forget about the 9/11 memorial ceremony. That's at 8:45 at De Leon Plaza in downtown Victoria. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today, and join Shauna, Dawn, Mac, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10. Make it a great Wednesday.